Naked worship, man claims nudity was practiced at cult church. Following harrowing reports that have come out of the Pathway International Kingdom Restoration Ministries in Montego Bay, St. James, on Sunday night, another person claiming to be a former member has come forward to say reports of the strange activities at the church were made to the police as early as January of this year. The man, who wishes only to be identified as Michael, says after 4 to 5 months at the worship center, he visited the Freeport police station in February to report instances of public nudity, child abuse, and sexual indecency that he claimed to have witnessed there. While Michael cannot produce any documentation to prove that such a report was made, he says the male officer to whom he interacted took his name, phone number, and address and told him the facility would be investigated. In my case, when I went and spoke to them, other persons had gone before me. Persons had gone there from January to make reports. They said they have heard of it. We are aware of it. I said, "Are you serious?" They say, "Yeah." Michael says he can recall one instance where the police visited the church and was greeted by Kevin Smith himself. There was on one occasion, I think it was one Sunday, where the police actually turned up at the church. And he went out and spoke to them and they drove off. They left. Persons were there but they never came inside. He went outside and spoke to them. Michael said that he got into contact with the church last September when a friend invited him and his wife. Expecting a wholesome godly experience, Michael said that he took his wife and children to the church for regular worship. We thought it was just a normal church where normal things happen, but we had no idea it was cultish and people were being forced, not even asked, forced to be nude, he said. There were things that were happening that we reported, the nudity and the child abuse. The fact that persons were turning up coming to church, and when they come, they would stand up there in the church and remove their clothing. Females were doing it, males were doing it. There were people running around nude in front of the children. There were situations where females were being taken to the rostrum, the podium, and stripped. Michael said the church, which held about 300 people at the time, was often filled to capacity with prominent figures in Montego Bay society. People who had privileged positions were turning up, and a lot these people had no qualms, they had no problem undressing, he claimed. Persons who refused to strip. Michael said persons who refused to strip were coaxed by others in the church to do so, and were encouraged not to laugh at anyone, lest they face giving a public apology in front of the congregation and ask to strip themselves. Michael said he and his family stayed at the church for as long as they did out of curiosity of whether or not these practices were real. The strangeness came to a crescendo when his daughter began to frolic around their home nude. I think the scary part was my wife telling me that my 16-year-old daughter came into the kitchen, I was not there, and she came into the kitchen nude. She say to her, "What the hell? What happened to your clothes?" And she say to her, "Mommy, nobody's here." And she say to her, "No, but you never used to do that, go put some clothes on." The mother told me about it and I said hell no, and pulled her aside, said you don't do that. And I realized that there was a serious issue, and even after we left the church, I had to get some counseling for her because I realized they were getting to her. 2 weeks after this incident, Michael stopped attending the church and made the report to the police. Michael says he blames the Jamaica Constabulary Force for their slow reaction to the claims he says persons had made to them as early as January. I don't want to get into the blame game, but I think the Jamaica Constabulary Force should be a 100%er held fully responsible for what happened. They could have and should have done something, but they didn't do it. They didn't act fast enough, and that resulted in people dying. 2 persons were killed in the church last Sunday, allegedly part of a human sacrifice. A third was shot and killed after he engaged police in a shootout. The lawmen stormed the church after being told of the bloody ritual that was unfolding. Efforts made to contact the police to verify whether or not these reports were made were futile up until press time. Jamaica News Daily, news at your fingertips. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe.